opportunity to get answers for the American people about the past 20 years of war in Afghanistan, mistakes made up in the lead to our withdrawal, of course, and how we can safeguard our national security and enhance stability in our region going forward. And once again, I want to thank the brave men and women in uniform who served our country proudly in Afghanistan over the last 20 years. Far too many of these individuals made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, and many more carry with them the wounds of battle. All of us on this committee thank our service members and their families for defending our nation and our ideals. But I want to go on to talk about ongoing support to those who are fleeing Afghanistan. As I mentioned in Tuesday's hearing, as the Taliban approached Kabul and eventually took over the city and the country, my team and I worked to help vulnerable individuals evacuate. But given the rapid collapse in Afghanistan and its capital, far too many Americans, SIV holders, potential asylum seekers, and their families were left behind. So, Dr. Nasser, what more could we have done to save U.S. lives in Kabul, and had we better anticipated the so rapid surrender of the Afghan security forces, and more importantly, what can be done at this point to evacuate family members of American citizens, SIV holders, and other Afghan nationals who we believe are in grave danger?
Well, Senator, to your second point, I think we need to use all our leverage around issues of economic support, recognition, et cetera, to make sure that the Taliban do allow those who want to leave and are qualified to leave. We also need to work with countries that are engaged with the Taliban, know them, speak to them, from Qatar, Pakistan, et cetera, to also drive that point home. I think that we raised some of the issues about why the Afghan security forces collapsed are clear to us. I'm sure we need to take greater stock taking of that and also find out why is it that our estimation that the government and the military would hold longer did not come to pass. But I think at a larger level, it goes to our misunderstanding of many of the cultural, political, and economic factors in Afghanistan. And I would say that also the Doha Agreement, that the way in which we approached it already demoralized the government and the Afghan security forces, that they understood that the United States is going to leave. And at some point, they basically decided to take their own decisions, and the military began to fracture along tribal and regional lines.
Thank you. And you mentioned neighboring countries, and I want to talk a little bit about leveraging relationships, because it's understood that Afghanistan's borders allow for violent extremist organizations to thrive. It enables the Haqqani smuggling networks and the possible cross-border operations to and from Iran, and the use of Pakistan's federally administered tribal area. Of course, they could use that as a safe haven. So to both Dr. Nasser and Mr. Jocelyn, in the short time I have left, in your opinion, how do our relationships with the border countries affect security and stability in the region, and how do you think we can best leverage these relationships for the safety, again, in the region and our own?
Very shortly, I mean, the country that has the longest border with Afghanistan is Iran, and we obviously are not on talking terms with Iran. So that we have to hope that the Iranians will follow some policies that would be in line with ours. But with Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, China and Pakistan, we have relations. We can talk. We should talk to them. We should try to align policies, and where we can, we should try to influence them to use their leverage in Afghanistan where they can.
Thank you, Mr. Jocelyn. I only have 30 seconds left. If you'd like to just try to say a few words, and we can ask the rest for the record.
I would just reiterate what I said about Pakistan in particular earlier. If you go back through the history of all this, obviously everybody here has recognized today Pakistan's role in supporting and sponsoring, harboring, facilitating, use your adjective you want or verb you want, with the Taliban and Haqqanis and helping them win this war. I think that we need a critical reassessment of our relations with Pakistan, the Pakistani state, and there needs to be a reassessment that is clear-eyed about what's happened over the last 20 years.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be submitting the rest of my questions for the record.
Thank you, Senator Rosen. Senator Kelly, please. Thank you, Mr.